While the moves may be subtle, we have some significant changes happening here in the Bitcoin chart that need to be addressed. Good morning, guys. It's Keith Allen. Going to jump right into the Bitcoin analysis this morning. And as you can see, looking at the weekly chart, yes, we're still well above the golden pocket. That's a positive thing for bulls. We are seeing at the moment the weekly candle turn red. Not super concerned about that. However, this could develop into something that is cause for concern. We've been talking for quite some time about the areas that we expect as targets to the upside. 55K is still a valid target, as is the 58 to 60K range after that, if we can get over this hurdle right here, which, as you can see, we have strong resistance here at about this 52.3 level. And if we zoom into the daily chart, you can see that Bitcoin has been bumping up against this resistance for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, for over a week now at this point. So why is this resistance so strong? And what's it going to take to break it? And if we're breaking down now, where are we going from here? So here's a couple things to watch. Number one, and I'll show you in the order book, what the liquidity is looking like here that's forming that physical resistance for us. But technically in the chart, you can see, and I'm going to turn off trend precognition to clear out some of the noise here. You can see in the chart that we do have some history around these levels, right? So there's a lot of confluence here in this range in prior all-time high territory before we went to that all-time high that is forming the technical resistance in the chart. If we look over at FireCharts, we can also see yesterday we did nose into that 53K range with a wick, but really since we entered this range, it's been tough for Bitcoin to get past it. So going back to the candle chart real quickly here, if things break down, we've already identified, some targets of where we could go from here. And my first line of defense, the most bullish scenario I can think of is if we retest the golden pocket here without wicking down into it and bounce back up. That would be very bullish in my opinion. Retesting any of these areas and recovering from that would also be quite bullish and quite frankly, a welcomed dip to buy. So in terms of likely targets, like I said, this 48.6 is like the top of the golden pocket here. Technically, that level has a lot of merit for me, but there's not quite the abundance of liquidity protecting that area that I'd like to see in FireCharts. In fact, it comes down just a little bit lower. And if we zoom in here, we can see that we do have, a buy wall at 48, but we don't have much above it protecting it like we did over the weekend. So looking to see if that will change for us. If it doesn't, then obviously I'm looking to some of these lower targets. And the 44, 45K range is an area that we traded in for quite some time. That consolidation range really could be a valid target. And if you look at these moving averages here, the green is the 21. That's up high by the golden pocket. The red 50-day is right at that 45K level right now. Should we lose that, we go down to the bottom of the prior range and the bottom of the golden fib, really, which is down around 42.5-ish right now. So, I would look at all these levels as potential landing zones if price cannot hold at either of these. Now, on the bullish side, we can see a double bottom right here, which at the moment is being respected. And if we look over on FireCharts, we can also see where we actually have a bit of a triple, 1, 2, 3. But look, there's a bit of a void of liquidity here. So now 51K is in jeopardy again. We nosed below it once already, and chances are we're going to go retest 50K from here. So something that is that this is telling me is, despite the huge amount of inflows that we had yesterday in the BTC ETF spot ETF, price still degraded. So people are selling. And who's selling? Well, glad you asked. purple whales have been selling since we entered this range here. We entered the range on Wednesday. Since Thursday, we've seen that selling begin, and this is where we need to watch. We have for quite some time, really since I think about around Christmas time, seen what appears to be. So this is mid-December here, right? This is December 13th. This appears to be accumulation happening from the three largest classes: brown mega whales, purple whales, and these red sharks. Now, red sharks have actually been cranking out the highest volume. It appears to me to be a TWAP strategy where they have just been on an absolute rip since Christmas time. Since that time, it's been billions of dollars. And by switching the chart over here to the absolute CVD, we can actually see the money that they're spending. Let's say that they were bottomed out before Christmas at down about let's call it 1.5 million to round up those numbers, and down 1.5 billion, with a B, 1.5 billion, and then since then have gone to the net positive side of almost $1 billion. So that is roughly $2.5 billion that they have bought through this TWAP strategy since that time. In the same period of time, brown, they are the largest size, but they don't do a tremendous amount of volume. They were at about net 12.5 million at that point, and today are up significantly, right? Up to 76, 77 million, but nowhere close to what red is doing. Purple, on the other hand, has been historically has had the most influence over Bitcoin price action, and that is before we saw these red sharks TWAPing the way that they are, but still they do far more volume than brown mega whales. So I look to their cues more so than I follow what brown mega whales are doing. I've done some analysis on those mega whale moves in the past, and if you look through the history, you can see those in my feed here. Purple over the time, that's $100,000 to $1 million orders. They were down about 280 million before Christmas, and at this point are up about 40 million. So they've come up over 300 million, but again, that's nowhere close to the volume that red is doing here. But what I'm watching at this point, and I'm going to switch back to the normalized view, what I'm watching at this point, to consider this accumulation, we would want to see this upward trajectory continue with a series of higher lows, right? So I haven't drawn on this chart yet here, so sorry I didn't do that before the analysis, but maybe I'll post that chart here after the analysis. But I'm looking to see if we can maintain this trajectory of higher lows so that we wouldn't want this plane broken, and we're very close to doing that right now. So watching this very, very closely. But what I'm learning here out of this is that, over the weekend I had speculated a little bit about these ETFs. It's like, we're in a new regime with these ETFs. Is it really going to be just an uptrend on days that the ETF demand is driving price, or, and then on weekends things will pull back, or is this at some point going to level off? Well, demand for ETFs yesterday was at all-time, like record highs, like rivaling what the top 10 ETFs and top 20 stocks are doing in history, and that's according to Bloomberg. So there's huge volume coming in, and there's somebody distributing to them, and that would be these purple whales are distributing to them at this point. So how long is this going to go? I don't know, but the moral of the story is up only for ETFs is not a thing, right? I often say up only isn't a thing. Well, this is really evidence that up only is not a thing. There's room for price to pull back here, and these dips are getting bought quite aggressively. So, I think if you're not already in a position, you should be looking for targets. and scale your way in. Do not ape in one shot and just buy your way into Bitcoin. I think that we need to respect the no straight lines policy that I have as well, and find some targets that look viable to you, and see if you can pick up incremental. If you can't get it incrementally by identifying these targets, then doing your own time weighted average to DCA your way into a position is also a very viable strategy. Whether you purchase a little bit weekly or monthly or however you like to do it, that's also a good way to get some exposure. Not giving any financial advice here whatsoever. You got to do your own research. Trading this stuff is risky, but I think the long-term narrative for Bitcoin is very, very positive here. And so I personally am building a longer-term position alongside some of my other trading strategies. So zooming in right now into FireCharts, we can see liquidity thinning out here below. And ask liquidity, putting pressure from above, and that's pushing price down. Now, TradFi market hasn't opened yet. We got another hour or so before that happens. So maybe we'll see those inflows start to, create some foundational support as that buy volume comes in. But in the meantime, I'm watching to see where liquidity moves in the order book. I'm watching to see if we can, if we get more bid liquidity coming into this range above 48, or if, if the ask liquidity keeps coming down to push the pressure down, which you want to see. The brighter side typically wins here, right? And right now, the ask side has the highest concentration of volume in the near zone, right? In the close to the trading zone. So if we start seeing bids start stepping up into this range, then that would be a positive thing. Until that happens, there's a chance for price to go down. You see a little bit of support coming back in over the 50K. That level to me is more psychological than technical. It's this range right here that I really want to see protected. And if it's not, I'm looking lower. Like I said, on the candle chart, we have a lot of consolidation in the, in this like 42 to 45K range. So watching that. And of course, if things should break down from there, and I really, there's certainly a lot of talk about a potential, 20, 30% correction, before the halving. And if that happens right now, that would get us down into this range, into this pool of liquidity down here in the 35 to 38 range. And even that is thinning out a little bit. Which is an indication that, number one, a lot of it is floated up into the price range, but number two, there's less sentiment for this range right here now because dips are getting bought so readily. So that's what I'm looking at for the day. Hope it helps you keep an eye on price action and helps you make some trading decisions. That's what we're here for. I appreciate the feedback you guys are giving me. If you like the analysis, please smash all the buttons and share it and help me blow up the channel. I appreciate the support you guys are showing me, and I hope that these analyses are helping you make some more informed trading decisions. It is a beautiful day here in South Florida. Hope it's nice where you are too. Have a great day and trade safe, my friends.